Hello, hello. Welcome to this podcast episode. I am your host, Alyssa Rogers. And as you can see, it's just me today because I just came off of a crazy weekend, a surreal weekend. I spent a day at Mar-a-lago in Palm Beach, Florida, and had some crazy encounters, some once-in-a-lifetime encounters, and I want to share everything with you and kind of talk about my journey leading to that moment, because I'm going to try not to get emotional when I talk about it because it is very emotional for me. And I just want to let everyone know, like, as I talk about this journey, if you would have asked me a year ago, I never would have imagined that I would be standing in that room on Sunday. And I just want everyone to know that it is possible if you put in the work and you do what's needed. And to achieve what you want to achieve, right? And so I want to talk about that today because little old me from South Boston, Virginia was in the ballroom at Mar-a-Lago on Sunday, and it was a humbling moment, and I'm so honored, so I want to talk about it. So it's kind of wild because when Joey and I started Rogers Heating and Cooling, when we purchased it in 2018, it was just a goal of ours to have an air-conditioned business and treat our customers the way they deserve to be treated and to serve them. And, I worked at ABB at the time. It was ABB. And I left there to join Rogers Electrical and Air Controls. And this was 2018, July. And this was actually 2017. So in 2017, I left ABB. I went to Rogers Electrical and Air Controls in July. And then in 2018, so January 1, 2018, it became Rogers Heating and Cooling. And when I started, it was just, I'm going to be in the office, Joey's going to be in the field, and we're just going to see where it goes. And in that time, I got pregnant in September, had Riley in June of 2018. So very early on in the early days of Rogers Heating and Cooling, I was going through that and becoming a mom, and a lot changed for me then, and the business was growing. So we started, just doing whatever we could, and it was rough. We had some rough times during those years because we were just figuring it out as we went. We didn't really have any knowledge of other people in the industry. We literally were just figuring it out every single day. And as we grew, we're like, oh my gosh, I need help. And so we started growing our team. And then in 2020, so it took about 2 years for me to be like, wow, what can I do? Who can I reach out to? Is there anyone else going through what I'm going through? And that is when we found Service Nation, which we have been a part of since 2020. We were actually, we went to one of their events in Greenville, South Carolina. We drove there because it was later in the week. It's the first time we had left the business. So 2 years, we went 2 years and worked nonstop. And then I'm like, okay, we have to do this. So we took a day off and we went to Greenville, South Carolina, and we're introduced to Service Nation. Amazing organization. I'm like, oh my gosh, there are so many people like us. They're going through the same thing. And this was a week before the world shut down for COVID. And when we signed up with them, they helped us through that. They were sending us all kinds of things that we needed to be aware of, the different COVID policies that were being put in place, the stay-at-home stuff, and they helped us navigate through that. And that helped us drastically. I don't know what Rogers Heating and Cooling would look like today if we wouldn't have had their help along the way. And then we kept growing. And then in 2022, so 2 years later, we went through another growth spurt. We were getting help from Service Nation, and Joey and I hadn't taken a lot of time off. We don't really do that. And I got an advertisement popped up on Facebook for this. It was 10X Growth Con, Grant Cardone. Never heard of him. Joey had heard of him, but I was like, hey, Joey, there's this Growth Con, like, should we go? And I looked up the dates. It was in Miami, and it was a Friday, Saturday, Sunday conference. I'm like, perfect. I can definitely get Joey to go to something on a weekend. So we went, and like 3 years to the day, like today that I'm sitting here, 3 years to the day, I journal, you guys know that. And I wrote in that journal, purchased this 10X event, tickets on a whim today, looking forward to it, right? And it was literally like, it'll be the second week of March is when the actual conference was. And at that time, we were still just figuring things out as we went. It's like, man, if we can just get this business to where we want it to go and we can get it to this level will be good. And so we go to that conference and we are introduced to Grant Cardone, Elena Cardone, Natalie Dawson, and Brandon Dawson. You have heard me talk about those four for now 3 years because that is when my life changed. That is when Joey's life changed because we were surrounded by business owners that were going through the same things that we were going through. We were shown what is possible and what our potential could be if we just stayed consistent, stayed the course, and really followed their philosophy of like achieving whatever you want to achieve. And so they've been part of our life for 3 years now. And when I say that, when I say we were introduced to Grant, Elena, Natalie, Brandon, they had no idea who we were, okay? We were in a room of thousands of people. They had no idea who Alyssa and Joey Rogers were. But we see them on stage. We see them talking on stage. We believe in what they're saying. And it's like, oh my gosh, things are possible. And maybe one day they'll know who we are. Maybe, right? If we just work really hard, maybe one day we can be honored to be in the same room as them or at the same table as them. This is 3 years ago. So we've been part of what is now known as Cardone Ventures for 2 years. So we went there, and then for 2 years, we became part of Cardone Ventures, which that's the part of the 10X community that helps you grow and scale your business. And they help you put structure in place and policies in place, and they help you grow your company. So we've been with them for 2 years, and the amount that they have helped us, they have supported us. And mind you, like still during this time, Natalie and Brandon knew who we were, right? But we weren't like in the same, at the same table as them. Like they knew who we were, but not to a level of being able to be around them. And Grant and Elena still probably have no idea, had no idea who we were. So, really awesome. Cardone Ventures has given us a lot of opportunities. We're working with their team to help put the processes and procedures in place to grow and be the company that you see today. And so many people come up to me in the community like, how are you doing this? How are you doing this? Do you sleep? How do you do all of this? And it really, truly is because we have people helping us and supporting us along the way and that are there for us that we can call anytime. And it takes commitment to be able to do those kind of things. So here we are. Then it's a year ago. And this is where I'm really going to try not to get emotional because it is just, it is wild to me. So 1 year ago, I went to a wine festival, okay? I went to a wine festival and I had a fantastic time. Fantastic time, right? I indulged. I was feeling great that day. I am not a huge drinker anymore. Like I don't drink a whole lot just because I like to be focused and I have a lot going on and I just want to be like on point when I'm at work. And then being a mom, Riley doesn't really allow me to have off days. She is like on another level all the time and she needs my full attention. So I don't like to feel bad, the next day. So anyway, we go to this wine festival and I just am like, I don't know, I let loose. Like, I let loose that day. This was a year ago. I was tasting all these wines. I was feeling great. I was like, yeah, pour me a glass, pour me a glass. And it was the most I had to drink in probably 7 years. And I was like, wow. So I had a great time. I didn't act crazy, right? Like, but I definitely indulged. So the next day I was so sick, the sickest I have been ever after drinking. And I'm like laying in bed, feeling so bad. Like, why did I do this to myself? What was I thinking? I never want to go through this again. And that moment, that day, I was surrounded by people that were having a good time too. And I'm like, wow, this is great. It's taking me back to like back in the day when I used to have a great time every weekend. I was doing that every weekend back in the day. And I was laying in bed and I'm like, this is not the person I want to be. This is the person I used to be. I can't believe I used to wake up feeling like this every Sunday. Years ago, and I just felt like I was wasting a day and I was feeling so bad. I'm like, I just can't live like this anymore. And a moment changed for me because I was on Instagram and Natalie Dawson. You guys know that if you are longtime listeners and you've followed me for a while, you know that I've said, if I could have dinner with anyone, it would be Elena Cardone, Natalie Dawson, Brandon Dawson, Grant Cardone. Like, I look up to these 4 individuals so much. And it just so happened that she did an Ask Me Anything on Instagram, and people were asking her questions that day. And one of the questions that someone had asked was, you know, I'm from a town where not many people, you know, are growth minded, and I want to grow and I want to do big things. So, like, how do I transition myself and how do I live my life? And have people that I want to surround myself with in my life. And Natalie answered, and I'm telling you, this changed my life, like changed my life just from that one answer. And she said, you know, you have to be at a table with people that you aspire to be or want to be around, you have to become a person that they want to surround themselves with. And it hit me like a ton of bricks because I'm laying there hungover. And I was definitely not the person that they would ever want to be at a table with. I hadn't done the work. I was not that person. And so I'm listening to this, and she was like, you know, you have to become the person that they actually want to sit at a table with. And a lot of times that is lonely because they don't want to be with you right now. Those people that you want to be around don't want anything to do with you right now. So it may be lonely at times because you don't have those people yet. So what you have to do is find a mentor. And by find a mentor, follow the people you want to be like. Follow them on Instagram, listen to the video like I was listening to that day, watch their content, read their books, study them, and become them. Become like them. Still be your authentic self, but really study their actions and what they're doing every day. And one day you'll find yourself sitting at that table with them. And it's kind of like the law of attraction, right? And so that's what I did. And I took that to heart, and I'm like, you know what? I had always thought a mentor was someone that I had to reach out to and say, hey, can we sit down for lunch every month? Or can you help me out? But what Natalie made me realize was, you know, that doesn't necessarily have to be the case. Because of the internet and all of the content that we are provided every day, you can look them up and they all have content that you can read and listen to and watch. And they can be your mentor without them even knowing that they're your mentor. And I took that to heart too. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to study Grant Cardone. I'm going to study Elena. I'm going to study Natalie. I'm going to study Brandon. I'm going to see like how they operate, what they do every day. And that's what I did. And I got lonely. Like, I was lonely for probably the past year. That doesn't mean I'm like, oh, like laying in my bed, like so lonely. But I literally just put my head down. I did the work. I studied. I read. I just started to try to become the person that I ultimately want to be and the person that they would want to have at their table, because I look up to them so much. So I'm doing this I didn't tell them this. I did not tell anyone this. I'm just doing the inner work for myself and trying to level myself up and grow myself. And I was walking into Riley's last Finding Nemo show. This was just a few weeks ago. Like, it wasn't even a long time ago, and just living my life, and I got this text message and I read it. I should have found it. Like, I could find it, but it pretty much said, like, me and Joey were standing in line trying to get into the Prizery Auditorium, and I get this text message and I'm like, holy shit. And Joey's like, what? What happened? What's wrong? And I'm like, I don't know if this is real life, but I just need you to read this really quickly. And it was a text message that said, hey, Alyssa, there is an event at Mar-a-Lago coming up on March 2nd. Natalie would really like you to attend and sit at the table with her. This is, she's inviting 8 women to this event. And I was like, in total shock. Like, total shock. I'm like, is this real life? Is this the right Alyssa? Like, do they have the right? Like, what's going on here? And I just couldn't believe it. So I like, what do you do? Like, oh no, sorry, I'm busy. Like, do you check your schedule? Like, nope, can't make. No, you don't do that. You're like, absolutely, I will be there. And you just figure out the rest later. And so that's how that happened. And so then for a few weeks, I was like, insane. You guys, I was insane. I'm like, what outfit am I going to wear? What am I going to do? Like, the shopping I did, I have so many things that arrived in the last couple of weeks that I'm trying on, and I have to send all back this week because I found an outfit, right? But all this extra stuff I'm sending back that I didn't choose. But I mean, how do you even prepare for something like this? But it was so emotional because I told Joey in that moment, I'm like, do you understand what this really means? Like, I have been working really hard and I haven't even told anyone like what I'm doing. And he's like, that's the law of attraction. It's the law of attraction. Like, good things will come. You've been committed. And it's just so emotional because I just never would have thought this at all. And it just means so much to me to be able to sit at that table with them and know that I was thought of for that. It's really crazy. So I go to this event over the weekend, and I'll tell you all the details because I'm still shocked myself. So we fly down to Palm Beach on Saturday. I end up getting to see my grandpa. So I'm originally from West Palm Beach, Florida. I was born in West Palm Beach, lived there until I was 7 when we moved here to Alton, Virginia. So I'm from there, but kind of from here more. I've been here longer, but we would go down and visit family on a regular basis every year. My grandfather still lives in West Palm Beach. So that was also a surreal moment because I'm invited to this event that's where I'm from. And Mar-a-Lago is just a place that my family's always talked about. Like, every time we go visit, like, we just drive by it, and it's like, oh, that's Mar-a-Lago. Wonder what it's like, wonder what, and you look at it and you're like, I wonder what it's like to be in there. What is it really like? And it's just very wild that I was there because it's always been a talking point with my family. So I get to have dinner with my grandpa, and then I go to another dinner. I did 2 dinners on Saturday because Natalie invited all the girls that were attending to dinner the night before. And so here I am sitting at a table eating dinner with Natalie Dawson, the girl I have looked up to for so long and have been studying for a year on, how she does things. I've been following her. And I just think she is a phenomenal human being. And so sitting at that table with her meant so much to me. And I got to meet all the other women that were invited too. And that was awesome because what it taught me is when I got the text message and I'm like, oh my gosh, is this real life? Like, how was I chosen for this? Like, how did this happen? Every single other woman that was there felt the same way. And we're looking at each other like, how did this happen? Like, do you know how we were chosen? Like, how did this happen? I'm like, oh my gosh, thank goodness I'm not the only one feeling like this, right? And so, and the consensus was like, we were invited because we put in the work and we show up. We show up for ourselves, we show up for our businesses, we show up for our team members, and we show up for Cardone Ventures. And so it was just awesome to meet them. So I got to meet them, and they're from all over the place, Arizona, Texas, Oklahoma, just really awesome. One of the women, like, do you guys remember Origami Owl? Like the fantastic jewelry line? Like the founder of Origami Owl was one of the women, which was very cool to meet her. And she is phenomenal. All of them are. But so had dinner with them, really fantastic. And then the next day was our trip to Mar-a-Lago. So I'm going to take you through this day because it is wild. So I get ready. We have to get on a shuttle to go there. So from the hotel, there's a shuttle that takes you to Mar-a-Lago. And they do all the checks. And they're like checking your ID. You have these QR codes. And they do all of this. So you go in there. And there's this pink carpet leading in to Mar-a-Lago. And it's a wine, women, and shoes event. So women, pretty much women. There were a few men there, but women only. And it was benefiting Big Dog Ranch Rescue, which is a huge organization in Florida that helps dogs and rehome them and everything. So you're walking in, and there are these guys with leashes, and there's like all these puppies and dogs as you walk in that you get to pet. That was like, they're getting you as soon as you walk in, and they were so cute. And then they had people walking around the event, like holding the dogs, and you could pet them. It was fantastic. And so then it's like a shopping time, and they had all these vendors set up that you could buy. They had clothes and shoes and jewelry and all kinds of things, and you're walking around and you can go shopping. Of course, I had to get something. I'm like, I have to buy something to show, like, I bought this in Mar-a-Lago, so I bought this fantastic jacket, love it. And then it's like networking, and there was a bar set up, and they had a guy from The Voice playing, and it was a song that he started playing. I'm like, oh my gosh, I know this song. I love this song. Like, whoo, I never knew that this guy, but very, very cool. So we get to network and talk to people. And one thing that I found is through this networking, everyone was so nice. Like everyone was so welcoming, so nice. They're just happy to be there. And I'm like, nervous. Like my adrenaline is going at this point. I'm like, I can't believe I'm here. And so we're hanging out. And then we get led into the ballroom, which hosted the main event. So we're walking in. And to get there, you have to pass like Trump's quarters, like where he lives. And so that was cool to see when he's there. And then we're in there, and they do all kinds of things. They do live auction. It's lunch. It's, a fashion show. They had a dog fashion show. It was fantastic. But the moment that I walk up and I see my name at this table and it has like my placeholder with my name. And then I'm looking at the other names at the table, and Grant Cardone is at this table. Like, I didn't know this part of it, like I was invited by Natalie and I knew I'd be spending time with her, but here we are at this table. It's Grant Cardone. It's the First Lady of Florida. It's another girl that was invited, and me. And then here we are going around the table, and then it's Natalie Dawson, and then it's Dr. Oz's wife, and then it's Elena Cardone. What? Like, I am at the table with these individuals, and it can be a moment where you're like, how did I get here? Like, why am I here? Like, how is this happening? But instead, I wanted to relish in the moment and be like, I belong here. And I think that's really hard for people to say. And it was even hard for me to say, but I'm here for a reason, right? Like, I'm here for a reason. I belong at this table. I'm going to continue to do the work to remain at these tables. And when I stood up, because they did the national anthem, to start the event, I got emotional. because I'm literally standing in the ballroom at Mar-a-Lago, someplace that I have passed by since I was a child, at least once a year, just passing by, wondering what it's like. I have gotten lonely for the last year, trying to grow myself. And I am now standing in the ballroom, listening to the national anthem with the people that I have wanted to surround myself with for years. It's emotional and it's surreal. And I can't even put that feeling into words, but I'm so honored. I'm so honored to have been chosen as one of the individuals to be there. It truly is a once in a lifetime experience for me that I'll remember forever. And I'll even talk about this moment for a long time, probably forever. And so we do this event. I get to talk to Elena, I talk to Grant, I talk to Natalie, I talk to all of these people, and they're just so welcoming and they're just such nice people. Like truly, like you always wonder, they say like, some people are scared to meet who they look up to because what are they really like in real life? And I can truly say that they are just as fantastic, in person, one-on-one as they are when you see them talking. They are who they portray themselves to be. Like they are truly phenomenal individuals that give back to their communities and want to see people grow. And I was in a room, it was an event of 600 people or more, and every single one of them, I could have gone up to anyone and they would have talked to me. They were just very welcoming. And I can't say that enough because it was just such a welcoming environment. And it was a group of people that wanted to see each other succeed. And that means so much to me because I want to be a cheerleader for others. And I want to continue lifting people up. That's why we bring people onto this podcast, because I want to see them succeed and see them grow. And so we go through the event, and then all of a sudden, everything stops. You see people flocking. And they come onto the microphone and they're like, okay, we're going to stop what we're doing right now because we have a very special visitor. Everyone stands up. Trump and Elon Musk walk into the room. Wow. And they're playing the Proud to be an American, God Bless America, like they're playing that, and here he comes up on the stage. And when I say like I was very close to him, like I was very close to him when he was talking to everyone. It was an awesome moment. And I'm gonna tell you, like whatever your political beliefs are, like to be in the same room as the President of the United States and then the richest man in America, on top of that, is just a chilling moment. It's an honor. And he was very down to earth. He spoke to everyone. He was so kind to everyone. And I just am still speechless, as you can tell. Like I'm still speechless over it because it's just such an honor to be in a room like that and to be at a place like that, but then to have him show up and take the time to say hello to everyone and to thank everyone for being there. And it's wild. And I can honestly say that there were a lot of people of influence there, a lot of people of influence at this event that have probably been around a lot of influential people in their life. And it doesn't matter. Like when they are around him, they're just as giddy as everyone else. Just as giddy as everyone else. Like, it's not like, oh, I know him or I've met him or I've seen him. Like, oh, that's just him. Like, no, like people were so excited to see him, just as giddy, like chills for everyone, because it's just such an honor to be in a room like that. And I'm just still so grateful for it. And so he showed up, and then this was at the end of the event. And then we, all went home or back to our rooms. And that's when it all set in for me too, because it was just like, I had this watch. And when I got back to the hotel room, it alerted me, is like, you've been in the high stress zone for 3 hours and 49 minutes. You probably need to take a breath. And I was like, no shit. Like, yes, I have been in the high stress zone. If you only knew, watch what I've been going through for the last 3 hours and 49 minutes. But that's just a little bit of inside view of what I was seeing. But I just want to let everyone know, like, I'm still in shock over this, but at the same time, like, I have worked really hard, and I need to recognize like how hard I've worked to get to this moment. I still have a lot of room for growth, and I still have a lot of things to do to get to where I truly want to be. But to be at the table with the individuals that I've looked up to for years that had no idea who I was a couple years ago and barely knew me a year ago is just, I'm just so thankful. And I just wanted to take this time to let you guys know that it is possible. If there is someone that you want to sit at the table with, if there is someone you strive to be like, it's okay to say that and change your actions to be more like them. Like, it's very important to stay authentic and true to yourself. So never become someone that you're not. But there is a difference between faking and growing, right? And they always say fake it till you make it. And there's a little bit of that, right? Like, you got to transform yourself and realize, like, and through this transition, you find out who you really are and what's important to you. But always stay true to yourself. But it's okay to become lonely. It's okay to look up to others, and it's okay to put in the work to get to that table. And everyone's table probably looks different. Like, we all have different tables that we want to be at, and there's nothing wrong with that. But the law of attraction is real. You put in the work, you study them, you let them know like what you want and what you want to achieve, and the law of attraction will happen. And that is what I'm living through right now. I am riding this wave. I'm telling you, like, I'm still in shock, and I'm going to continue putting in the work. This doesn't mean I stop, like, oh, achieved it, like, I'm good. No, I just have to continue working harder and harder to hopefully be at a table like that again. And hopefully, do amazing things for our team, for others, for the community. Like, I want this to turn into something where I'm able to give back. I always want to continue giving back to those around me, to my community. So I'm going to continue doing that. But I just wanted to give you an inside view into what I saw and what I experienced, because I was sitting at that table, and I sent my sister a picture, and she was like, and here you are, you're just sitting there like, yep, I'm just Alyssa Rogers from South Boston, Virginia, running an HVAC business, and it's like wild. Like, this can happen. It's so wild. And I'm so glad that I get to share it with you. I'm so glad that I had that experience. I'm so thankful to Natalie, Elena, Brandon, Grant. I'm so thankful because they literally changed my life and transformed my life into a better life. And that is truly by just watching them and growing from them. So thank you to them for allowing me to see what's possible and continuing to do that. So thank you, Elena, Grant, Natalie, and Brandon. I couldn't be here without your support and what you help me do every day. And I couldn't be here without everyone that's watching and listening today either, because you are what makes me sitting here possible every week. And I'm going to continue bringing on amazing individuals that are striving for great things. And we need to continue supporting them, supporting these small businesses, and supporting each other, because that is what helps us grow. So continue lifting people up, continue working on yourself, growing yourself. And I can't wait to see the amazing things that you achieve. Share them with me, and let's celebrate together. And I appreciate everyone for watching and listening today. I love you guys so much, and we will talk to you next week. Bye.